This video is a replay of a trade I took today. Now, it probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. I am not a financial advisor, and trading entails risk. Just because I got these results today doesn't mean that I can get these every day, nor that you can. Remember, the entire premise of the investing project and the $1 million experiment is that I am not an expert, and yet I am learning how to do this. So for heaven's sake, don't just blindly copy me. Instead, find a mentor, someone who is an expert, and join their community. Pay for their mentorship. This approach has worked very well for me, and it likely will for you too. So use this video partly as education and partly as inspiration. After all, if I can learn this, you can too. So we had another pretty good trading day today. I did something a little bit different today in the sense that I got into two parallel trades happening kind of at the same time. The first one in actual time was the ES. I got in at 75.07. This is at about what was it, 6:41 Pacific. I got in. It had the nicest. Well, actually, I think the NQ had the nicest pullback, but it took off, and I couldn't get in with a reasonable amount of risk. Whereas with the ES, it was a bit more contained. It still had a nice pullback, and I could get in with 15 handles of risk. So I liked that. Actually, I took 18 handles. So I gave myself a little extra buffer, but it was good. And then the YM, it was going in the opposite direction. But it was, once the ES and NQ take off, the YM will typically follow. And so this looked like it was being pulled back quite a bit. So there was a good opportunity to get in here. I didn't actually get in at the first opportunity after this 5-minute candle, even though I've put my buy order here. I did get in at this level. Actually, I got in 2 points below this level, 92. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it until 6:51, about 10 minutes after I got into this one. Even though they're probably both going to trigger around the same time on the replay, I got in about 10 minutes later. I sized down from 6 contracts down to 4, just to, again, to try to contain the risk a little bit, because I had to give myself 120 handles or so of space. So let's go ahead and play this. Both of these hit their first targets, which is good. Let me just come down here and give myself a bit more room. And here I think I gave myself 3 additional handles of room, something like that. They both ended up hitting their first target. Neither of them hit their second target. I made a point of, once these things had started moving in the right direction, the stops had pulled to even, I actually left the vicinity and let it play out. I had some errands to run. So I went off and did that. And when I got back, it had already triggered both of the first targets. And that's the point at which I moved the remaining stop orders up to one of the preceding 15 or 5-minute bars. But let's let this unfold a little bit here, and we can watch what happens. You can see with the YM, once it moves 100 points in the right direction, it pulls all the stops to even, and then splits the contracts in half, and half of them follow 100 points behind the top. And I said they both triggered the first contract. Actually, I don't think that's true. I think the YM didn't. I think what happened is this faded and took out the trailer. I think that's what happened. We'll find out in a second. Actually, I haven't watched this yet. I just looked at the final tally before I played this. Let's have a look here. Okay, so the ES got its first target. That's $200 right there. The YM, meanwhile, looks like it's coming down to stop out. Yeah, I think it is. Certainly flirting with it, isn't it? Okay, it's out, and that was, I think, a $67 67-point move. Well, $67 on 2 contracts. So that was unfortunate. But it never really made it as far. And it's interesting to see that the ES had a lot more energy, not as much as the NQ. The NQ just took off. Unfortunately, it took off at such a rate that I couldn't afford to the risk to get into that trade. And then I think, I'm not exactly sure what time it was. I think it was right about now. I came back, and when did I get out? I think I ended up putting my stop right about here, 75.19 on the ES. And then I came up and I put this probably right about here at the bottom of this red candle, I think. And I might even have advanced it to this level. Gosh, I probably came up to this one if it had been proceeding along like that. So I think this is where I ended up putting my stops. And at some point, fairly soon, it took me out. And I think I probably advanced it to about here. And I probably would have put it up to here, although I don't think I did. No, I don't think I went that far. I think by the time I noticed this, it had already retraced substantially, and I think I ended up leaving it right where it was. Long story short, when this stopped out, it stopped out with 15 handles. So yeah, 75.22 is where it would stop me out on the ES, and it stopped me out with 120 handles on the YM. So 92. So 92 to 02 probably. To 12, probably right about here. I think I was right about here because I got 120 handles. So that's about right. And this is the point at which it would have taken me out. So I'm now out of the ES with a total of $350 for that little exercise. And this is about to come out here. And once it's out, there it is. I think I ended up with $187 for that. So the total was $537 for these two going in parallel today. So a decent little trade. Can't complain.